Yup. Yup. See, this is the kind of episode that we needed during this time, okay? It was light. It was fun. It was a palate cleanse. The issues of Jera Huda and Huda Maya whatever did not consume the entire episode. But we still got some things to get into, so let's talk about it.
Roxiie says we're gonna talk about it.
What's up, y'all? It's your girl Roxiie with Roxiie Says, and we're going to talk about it. Today, we are discussing Love Island USA Season 7, Episode 15. And like I said before, I really enjoyed this episode. I really did. So let's get right into it. But before we do, please don't forget to hit like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure that you hit that notification bell. I got a little secret to tell y'all. We are less than 250 subs away from hitting 40K. That is crazy. Thank you all so much. I appreciate each and every single one of you. If you think you're subscribed, double check, make sure that you are, because sometimes YouTube be unsubscribing people, okay? And help us get to that 40K. So let's get right into this review. All right, so I got the new couples below for you. We have Shelly and Ace. We have Austin and Amaya, Taylor and Alandria, and we have Huda, who is single, and she's walking in with Taylor and Alandria, and Taylor is holding both of their hands. Now, I asked in the last video, is Taylor like Huda's number 2? Or are they just friends? Or are they like secretly plotting on each other to get together? I'm going to keep my eye on them. Anyway, the three of them sit down, and Huda tells Taylor that she loves him to death, and she thanks him for standing with her. And Taylor says, look, I love you too, and you're welcome. However, moving forward, I need you and Jeremiah to completely separate so that y'all do not start this cycle again. Y'all got to end this right now, okay? And Huda starts to complain, and she says that she keeps getting slapped in the face because she's single and she's on the chopping block, and Jeremiah gets to be recoupled and go on a date, and she calls him the B word again. The Huda defenders, what's the cutoff line? Okay, where do we draw the line and say, okay, girl, you doing too much at this point? Is there a line? Is there a cutoff? Or does she just get the green light to do this shit indefinitely and terrorize the whole house? Is there a cutoff? Just let me know, okay? And she's hyping herself up again, and Alandria and Taylor see it, and they have to be a little more stern with her and tell her to calm down, and they only want positive vibes moving forward. And Huda Pinky swears she promises them that she's done with the pettiness. And in her confessional, Huda says that Jeremiah not picking her shows that she can't trust him anymore. And I said, great. That's a good thing. That should be of no concern of yours any longer because y'all aren't together. Okay, so it's good. You know that. Cut ties and let it be done. All right. So next we see Shelly and Ace. They're kissing, and she tells him that she's happy that they're finally coupled up. And we don't see Ace respond to that. Instead, he says that he's hoping that voting for Huda was the right decision because her behavior in this villa has been absolutely unacceptable. But he also says that he made the decision because he didn't see any effort from Jalen. Ace, miss me, please. Miss me, Ace, because how much effort would you have been seeing from Taylor had you not been pulling him in for a huddle every 5 minutes? If we're being real, you know that you weren't seeing any effort from Taylor. That's why you had to keep telling him what he needed to do in order to stay in this game. But anyway, Shelly tells us that she was actually relieved that Austin and Amaya were a match so that she could finally be with Ace. All right. So next we see Taylor and Alandria. They're in soul ties. And I think Taylor said that he was nervous. Okay, you know he'd be mumbling. I don't know what him and Jeremiah are saying half of the time, but he does say that he stood behind Huda because he has faith in her that she will change and she can find her person. Is that person you? I don't know, y'all. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, so Alandria tells us that she's so happy to be back with Taylor and she loved seeing how kind he was to Huda. Taylor says that he's happy to be back with Alandria, and when she asks him if he missed her, he looks down and he says, sure did. Child, Alandria, how are you not seeing this? Anyway, next we see Amaya and Austin. They're hugging and over talking each other, but from Austin's body language, something seems very off, and Amaya is open. She's giddy. She's saying that she can't wait to share a bed with him tonight. She's hugging him. She's smiling, and he's laughing with her, but his arms are crossed, right? His arms are crossed. She pulls him in for a peck on the lips, and although Austin is being polite, something is clearly off. And I'm like, Amaya, what be going on after these guys get coupled with you? What happens in those 3 minutes that these guys are like happy to be coupled with you and then they get coupled with you, and then it's just off. That was such a weird vibe. Tell me if you caught it down below. So next we see Jeremiah and Iris. They go for a chat in the speakeasy, and Iris tells him that although she's interested in him, he's still free to talk to other people. Iris is really trying to drive the point home. Look, I'm mature. I understand how this goes. You're free to talk to other people, but just know from what we saw in the preview for the next episode, that goes both ways, okay? Iris is going to explore her options too, but we'll get to that. So while they're in there, we see Huda. She's eavesdropping on them, and she hears Iris saying that you can't be calling people out of their name and you two are not compatible. And Jeremiah says that he would rather go home than be with someone toxic. Jeremiah, you know you ain't going nowhere. You know you're here to win. You know you ain't going nowhere. So Jeremiah says that picking her tonight made him finally feel joy. And Iris says that the first connection isn't always necessarily the best connection, and she's very attracted to the way that he handled tonight. Child, after Huda heard that, she was like, oh no, we got to break this shit up. We got to break this up. She just couldn't take it anymore. She goes inside of the speakeasy and she asks if she can interrupt the chat. And on top of that, she asks if she can sit where Iris is sitting. And they went to that little, Love Island commercial thing. And baby, the way that I hit pause, and the entire time I was just like, nope. Iris, you better not get up. Nope. Iris, you better not get up for like 2 minutes straight, okay? And as soon as I hit play, I see Iris getting up. Listen, can y'all stop letting this girl think that she runs this house? What is this? No, you cannot speak to him right now. You can speak to him once we're finished with our conversation. That was just rude. And on top of that, not only did she interrupt the conversation, but she's pretty much telling you, I want to sit where you are, so get your ass up and leave the speakeasy. That's what she's saying. That's what she's saying. Huda, this conversation could have waited. Okay, that was rude. Anyway, so we see Huda sit down, and she starts off very calmly, and she's speaking as low as she possibly can. And she says, look, I'm not here to argue with you. Okay, actually, I wish you the best. And I was like, okay, we're off to a good start. And then she gets started for real. And she says, I'm extremely hurt, and I shared the best memories with you in here, and I care about you so much. And whether or not I'm partially to blame for the toxicity in the house, we're both to blame for it, okay? Even if we're both to blame, whatever. And Jeremiah says that no other girl in the villa is doing all of the effed up stuff and toxic things that she's doing. Meanwhile, we see Iris. She goes upstairs and she's talking to Amaya, and she says that Huda just broke up her conversation, and then she has to show Amaya how to iron because Amaya says she don't know how to iron. Iris, we got to be fair. Let's also state your part in this. You let that girl come in there and debo you out of your seat. Okay, you could have said no. You could have told her to take her ass outside and wait. But you got up. Anyway, Amaya is annoyed that they just saved Huda and she's doing the same shit. What did y'all expect though? Y'all barely even told her that she's done anything wrong up until this point. So back down at the speakeasy, we see that Taylor is listening from the outside, and Huda's in the speakeasy and she getting hype, and she's telling Jeremiah that he literally tore her heart into pieces. And Taylor comes at the door and he looks at Huda like, what's going on here? Didn't we just have a talk? Didn't we just pinky swear? Why are you back in the speakeasy doing the same shit? Okay, it was all over his face. And Huda says, listen, can I just finish this conversation? All right, I'm not getting angry and I'm almost done. I just got to say a few things. And do you see how the whole house has to help Huda regulate her emotions so that the entire night isn't absolutely ruined? It's like a group project where they all have to work on Huda. And it's great that she has that support, but it's also a bit unfair to the other people in the villa that their time and their day is so consumed with her emotions. That's really not fair, okay? It's exhausting. So when Taylor leaves, she gets closer to Jeremiah and she tells him that she just wants him to know that she truly cared. He tells her that he wishes her nothing but the best. And if she sees him doing something, it's not that he's doing it to make her jealous. And he genuinely hopes that someone comes in and can give her what she wants. And in Huda's confessional, she says that she thinks that they're finished, and she says that she's no longer exploring their connection since it's not going to work. But despite how much she wants to hate him, she doesn't hate him. So they get up to hug, and you can see clear as day that Huda wanted a kiss from Jeremiah and he swerves it. Okay, so they hug and she pulls her head back and she looks into his eyes longingly and he just turns and puts his head right back on her shoulder. I'm so happy that Jeremiah did not kiss her. I'm so happy that he is creating boundaries and he did not kiss her. And in his confessional, he says that he accepted this chat for closure, but moving forward, he's going to have to respectfully decline chats with her. And that chapter is finally closed. And I said, good job, Jeremiah. Okay, you can't call me the P word, the B word, and then pull up for a chat and think we about to make out. No, this stops here. Good job, Jeremiah. Let's not let these lines be blurred ever again. So everyone is getting ready for bed, and we see Jeremiah. He goes and he sits down with Ace, Alandria, Pepe, and Taylor, and he tells them that his chat with Iris was interrupted, but everything with Huda is finally over with. And Ace says, look, I don't want to hear y'all names in a sentence together ever again, respectfully, all right? So Sierra is telling the other ladies that she hopes that Jeremiah choosing Iris in front of everyone is the closure that Huda needed in this situation. And if she doesn't wake up tomorrow and move differently, she can't save her a third time. And I said, okay, girl, we'll see. So when Maya tells Huda, girl, that was very inappropriate for you to go in there and speak with Jeremiah. And Huda says, yeah, I know that, but it was only because I really wanted to just finish what we had today so that we can start fresh and have a brand new day tomorrow. Yeah, girl, but you did not have to interrupt the conversation with Iris in order to do that. That was intentional. You didn't have to interrupt their conversation. You could have waited, okay? So we see Jeremiah tell Nick that Huda pulled him for a chat, and Nick tells him straight up, look, I don't even want to hear about it. Nick says, I don't even want to hear about it. He don't even have the energy. He is over it, okay? Completely over it. So Amaya is telling them how excited she is about Austin, and we see everyone get in bed, and it looks like Hannah and Pepe were doing the sideways shuffle underneath the covers. Let me know if you saw it, okay? So it's morning, and everyone is discussing their night. Shelly says that it was nice sleeping with Ace, but they didn't cuddle as much as she thought that they would. And we see Austin telling Jeremiah that he's happy that the cycle has finally been broken with Huda. And Huda and Jeremiah haven't said a word to each other all morning. And I said, you're doing great, guys. You're doing great, guys. Okay, keep it up. Thank you. But then we see Jeremiah and Iris. They sit outside for breakfast, and Huda is rolling her eyes, and she leaves the kitchen. And Iris peeps this, all right? So the negative energy is really oozing out. But I'm happy that she took her ass somewhere else instead of staring and possibly calling Jeremiah and Iris the B word again, because she's done it before. And I'm happy that she didn't interrupt their breakfast, okay? So we see Alandria telling Shelly that her night with Taylor was great. And when Shelly asks her if they're at the point where they can kiss now, Alandria says, oh, we do be kissing. We be kissing. And Shelly was like, yeah, but I mean, like, you know, consistently. But I think what Shelly really meant was authentically. Like, are y'all going to be kissing outside of challenges or outside of the guys telling him to do it? And that comment that Shelly made makes me feel like she also sees the lack of chemistry between Alandria and Taylor, but who knows, all right? So Alandria says that she doesn't feel like a stranger to Taylor anymore, and she's open to kissing him more often. But is he... Anyway, Shelly is excited to be receiving kisses from Ace outside of challenges, and she tells us that she's happy to be with Ace, but she's going to need him to get it together, okay, after that lack of cuddling last night. So we gonna see, is Ace already giving Shelly the cold shoulder? So we see Huda chat with Sierra, and Sierra is a real one, and she tells her that she was conflicted when it came down to the vote and almost stood behind Jalen, okay? Because she wasn't sure if Huda could take steps forward to do better, and she doesn't want to ever see her beg anyone else for respect. And although she sees a better path for Huda, Huda needs to see it for herself regardless of what anyone else thinks. So while Huda and Sierra are chatting, we see Huda look over at Jeremiah, and he's having a talk with Iris, and they're discussing how happy Jeremiah is today. And Jeremiah lets us know that what he has with Iris feels healthy, and America probably knew what they were doing, so he's gonna pursue it. They chat about movies, and we learn that Jeremiah's uncle used to own a comic book shop, all the things, all right? So Huda is telling Sierra that it's just so hard to have to watch Jeremiah with someone else, but after her crash out, she thought of her daughter and she regrets it. And Sierra reassures her that it was just a bad moment in time and it's not her true character. And Huda tells us that she wants to move on and she wants to make the best out of her time here. Now listen, that was a very nice conversation that Sierra had with Huda. It was loving, and it still told Huda what she needed to hear and that she needs to do better. But you could definitely tell that it came from a good place. So thank you so much, Sierra, for stepping up and having that conversation. And at this point, I was like, we'll just see. We'll just have to wait and see. She's making promises to Sierra. She's pinky swearing with Taylor and Alandria. We'll see what you got to show, okay, Huda? So next, Austin and Shelly, they're chatting about the recoupling, and Shelly tells him that a part of her wanted to choose him, but she ended up going with her gut. Girl, Shelly is so funny because no part of you wanted to choose Austin. Okay, we know that, Shelly. We understand. So Austin says that he's happy that Shelly and Ace can finally explore, and Austin tells us that he enjoyed chatting with Shelly without all of the extra pressure, and they high five on it. So next we see Pepe. He's having a chat with Hannah, and he's telling her, I guarantee that there'll be a million things that we don't like about each other, but that doesn't mean that we can't be together. And I was definitely with Hannah when she was like, well, if there's a million things, then we're going to have to move on. We're going to have to move on, period, Hannah, because who the hell is sticking around for that? Who is sticking with someone when there's a million things that they hate about them? No, sir. No, ma'am. Okay. Then Pepe says that he wants something to work long-term until it doesn't. Pepe, you sure do have a way with words. Oh my God. So romantic. You just know what to say. So Hannah speaks about living with someone and figuring out what some of her deal breakers were during that time. But she tells us that Pepe makes her happy and she's looking forward to building an intimate relationship with him. Well, we know that y'all already started building that intimate relationship, girl. Okay, we saw a little bit of it last night. So child, next we see a bunch of text messages coming in letting the Islanders know that there's going to be a sexy game tonight with bathing suits for the ladies from Meg Thee Stallion's Hot Girl Summer bathing suit line. Everyone is so hyped, so excited. You know Nick is hype, okay? You know Nick is hype. And he says that he's going to be shaking his body, yada, yada. You know Nick is hype, okay? So child, next we see the girls. They go upstairs. They're getting ready. Everyone's twerking. The mood is good. And next we see Meg Thee Stallion join the ladies in the makeup room. She looks absolutely amazing. Meg is telling the ladies how beautiful they are in real life. And Meg is just so excited. She's just as excited as the ladies are. It's so cute. Huda says, hey, bitch, to Meg. And I was like, I said, girl, yes, I know that she said it in a different way than she said it to Iris and when she was talking about Amaya, but just reel the B words in just for a little bit, okay? But you can tell that Meg really likes Sierra because she's like, oh, where does Sierra sit? And later on in the challenge, she bigs up Sierra a lot as well. And she says that she feels like although she likes Nick and Sierra and everyone should be open, Nick better not play in Sierra's face, okay? Meg was very serious about that. She asks Alandria for the booty routine because yes, Alandria got that booty, baby, that booty. She asks Shelly about when she told Ace that she's not trying to be the perfect girl for him. She liked that moment. And when she gets to Huda, she compliments her face. She says, girl, the face card never declines, but I need you to smile more. Okay. I need you to smile more. And she says that she was about to come in and put her foot down because that's the type of energy that Huda needs. And Huda was like, yes, she understands me. She understands me. So we see Meg get a confessional and she says that her favorite part of the show so far was when Huda told Nick that she was a mommy. And Nick was like, a mommy, a mamacita. She loved that. She was cracking up in her confessional. And you can tell that Meg really loves the show and she's invested in the show. She knows these characters. She knows their stories. So that was really nice to see. And after she plugs her swimsuit line a little bit, she heads downstairs with the ladies. And of course, the boys are in awe. Ace introduces himself. It's just a great, fun vibe overall. So Meg, the hot girl coach, tells them that this is a 3-round game. It's girls versus boys, and it's a booty battle. So round 1 is going to be a twerk off. Round 2 is a limbo battle. And round 3 is a puzzle that reveals the new male and female bombshells once completed. And I said, ooh, we getting some bombshells. We getting some bombshells. And whichever team completes the puzzle first will get their new bombshell tonight. So first up is Huda against Ace for the twerking competition. Huda did her thing. Huda did her thing with the twerk. She was doing splits. She had the hands on the knees, everything. Huda did her thing. But then Ace comes in with his stomp the yard and his Magic Mike moves, okay, his Michael Jackson moves. And he does a little twerk as well. But Huda wins that round, all right? So, child, next is Amaya, and she's twerking. She's doing the splits. And they show us a flash of Austin. And why did he look disgusted? Now, look, I know this couldn't be editing. Austin could have been looking at something totally different at a completely different time, and they used that clip for Amaya. But why did y'all show us a clip of Austin looking disgusted during that time, especially after that weird-ass conversation that they had earlier? What are y'all trying to show us, okay? But, child, when it was Austin's turn, the way that he had me cracking up, Austin wanted to get spanked, okay? We know Austin liked to get spanked. He wanted Ariana to spank him, and he definitely wanted Meg to spank him last night. He definitely did. So Austin looked crazy. I'm not about to embarrass myself in this video, but Austin was doing a lot. The moves were a lot, but he won that round. He did his thing. He was not playing. He had me cracking up. This entire game had me cracking up, but Austin really had me cracking up, all right? And then he says that although he didn't have a juicy booty to bounce, he didn't do too badly with his little tight ass. I said, okay, Austin. So next is Alandria versus Nick. And we already knew that Alandria was going to show out. I was like, let's go, Ola. Let's go, Alandria, because that thing was moving like water, okay? I got up and I started twerking too. I was like, girl, you're not about to out-twerk me, okay? I started twerking with Alandria. And all of the guys had to contain themselves. They were turning around. The women had to contain themselves. Alandria looked good AF, okay? Alandria looked good up there. Child, I cracked all the way up through Nick's little routine. And when Meg tried to act like she couldn't choose between Alandria and Nick, I was like, girl, you need to stop. And even Alandria was in her confessional like, girl, you need to stop. You know that I won that round. And Alandria did end up winning. So next up is Shelly versus Taylor. And child, Shelly starts twerking on Meg. And the guys are yelling, hey, she's cheating. Hands off the judge. Hands off the judge. And you know Meg like that, all right? So Taylor starts twerking and crunking and making the funniest faces the entire time. Taylor is so dumb. Taylor is such a character. He definitely gained some points with me in this episode as a person, though. As an individual, not to be coupled up with Alandria. I just want to make that disclaimer, okay? So Meg gives that one to the boys, and round one ends in a tie. So next up is the limbo round with the boys, and they win that one. And then finally is the puzzle round. And since the boys were in the lead, they get a 10-second lead to start their puzzle. So they're all running around trying to get the pieces together, and Meg is yelling out, oh, I see an ab over there. Oh, I see a coochie piece over there. I see a piece over there. And Taylor says that as this puzzle was coming together, he was seeing a lot of things that he liked. But the ladies win this challenge, so their bombshell is the first to come in, and his name is TJ, okay? So this is TJ. He says that he's a total package, so the guys better hold their girls closer when he walks in. And I said, okay, TJ, that sounds cute, but that sounds a whole lot like what Charlie said. And as we can all see, his ass ain't here no more, okay? But nonetheless, the ladies are very excited. So when the camera pans to Hannah, I just burst out laughing because she's already looking at him like she's plotting on him. You know that Hannah don't play, and we know that Hannah is not loyal, all right? So we see Shelly in her confessional saying that TJ is fine AF. She said, ooh, that man is fine. And I was like, okay, girl. So child, we see Ace saying, damn, I'm mad as that the guys aren't getting their bombshell tonight. And Huda's like, oh, she turns to Shelly. She said, oh, did you hear that? Take note of that. Take note of that. Yeah, girl, take notes, because you know how Ace gets whenever a new bombshell comes in. So child, Meg tells the boys that she can't leave them hanging. She's not going to leave them hanging, child. So in walks Andriana, Andriana. Okay, she's 24 years old. She's Dominican, and she is a baddie, baby. She's a baddie, and she says that she likes Jeremiah and Nicholas, and if she's gonna steal your man, that's just what she's gonna have to do, all right? Now, if you've been here for some of these videos, I already told y'all that they were gonna bring a Latina in here for Jeremiah after he told Ace that that was his type. I was waiting for her, and they delivered, and immediately I was like, bye, Iris. Bye, Iris. But as we see, Iris has her own plans, okay? So she comes in, and the boys are like, whoa, wow, body is bodying. She's beautiful, okay? And here goes Huda. Oh, girl, you look good, girl. Girl, you look so good. I'm like, Huda, Huda, please. But at least she's not calling her the B word, okay? So we're making some progress. Good job, Huda, all right? So, child, the way that I burst out laughing when Pepe started speaking Spanish, and Hannah was like, Hannah looked at him like, oh, you speaking Spanish now? I was cracking up. And we see Hannah in her confessional talking about, girl, please don't take my man. Girl, please don't take my When I tell you this episode had me cracking up, Hannah, don't talk about please don't take my man, because you just dropped Charlie for the new bombshell, okay? Pepe is a bombshell, and you dropped your man for him. So Huda is in her confessional saying that she hopes that she's the new bombshell's type because he's looking like hers. And I just gotta say something. I have a problem. This is not fair. Do y'all see the female bombshell that just walked in tonight? The guy bombshells don't be bombshelling like that. That's not, why y'all doing that? This is not right, okay? You can't bring her in and then bring, nothing wrong with TJ, but it's not this, come on now. Y'all know it's not the same wow effect. All right, it's not fair. Y'all got to be fair. Y'all need to bring in equal bombshells for both the ladies and the men. All right. And child, we see in the preview that Iris is going to be making out with a new bombshell. All right. And I was like, okay, so does that mean that Jeremiah is going to be single, or Huda's going to see that opportunity and snatch him back again? Or is Jeremiah going to start messing with the new bombshell because that's his type? I guess we're going to have to wait and see. But I absolutely enjoyed this episode. Tell me all of your thoughts on it. Tell me all of your predictions. Don't forget to hit like, comment, and subscribe. You know how we do. We're going to get down in the comments, and I cannot wait to see you in my next video. Bye.
Roxiie says we're gonna